What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with another review for the Braxtons, you guys, season one, episode 5, and this episode was titled "Happy Birthday, Tracy." Now, before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this episode of the Braxtons, shall we? Okay, you guys, I have a quick question for you guys. So I was watching this episode. I did not watch it live last night, but I have a few questions because I feel like I'm missing something with this episode because there were two clips that they showed for coming up on the show that I don't know if I missed them or not. Because in one clip that they showed coming up next was Tamar when she did the podcast with Carlos King. Now I never saw that at all in this episode. Can y'all tell me if y'all saw it in the episode or if I'm losing my mind? Then there was another scene where they showed Mama Evelyn sitting down with Judge Maybelline and Marla Gibbs, and I didn't see that scene either. So please tell me if I missed something in the episode or not, because I'm confused. Let me know, you guys. Please let me know in the comment section. Again, if I missed something, let me know. Tell me if I missed it, and we can discuss it in the comment section. But this episode, it opens where the last one left off, and it's with Trina Tawanda talking about not giving Kevin Jr. any light on this show, right? And since last week's episode, somebody has found the will of Tracy's. And according to what I've heard, I have not read the will, but according to what I've heard, Tracy did say that she wanted a celebration of life in her will. She did leave some stuff for Kevin Sr. in the will, and she didn't leave her sisters in the will. So, oh, if that's true, then that makes Tawanda and Trina paints them in a not so good light. But hey, I don't know. Again, like I said, I have not read this will. I'm just going off of what I've heard, so I don't know any of this to be well. I mean, I know that the will is out there, so shit. I don't think people will make up something that's not, put words out there that are not real. So, yikes. But okay, we all know that the sisters had a contentious relationship at best with Kevin Sr., right? I just I'm gonna keep my 2 cents to myself about the whole thing because there are some things that just don't quite sit right when I think about it, but it is what it is, right? Um, what else are we gonna talk about? So I did find it a little bit odd that Tawanda chose to bring up the whole thing about the wannabe comment, the wannabe thing in the earlier seasons of Braxton Family Values. I did find it a little interesting, right? Because I always wondered why did they label Tracy as the wannabe? Like that was so rude. And she even mentioned it, but I know after I know after she did mention it, they did take it away, but I forgot what they made her. I forgot what her title was after that. But that's neither here nor there. She also talked about the fact that them signing without Tracy. Some of this stuff, I just feel like it's I don't know how I want to word this. Some of the stuff I feel like it is actually not how I want to word it. Some of the stuff I feel like is years too late, right? Because these are some things that Tracy vocalized when she was alive, and I don't, hopefully Tracy had some resolution with the feelings that she had, but I kind of feel like it being brought up in this particular moment was just for the fans, honestly. But you guys can tell me what you guys think, feel in the comments, you guys, and we will discuss it there. But yeah, that's really all I got from that. That's really all I got. But yeah, so after that, we see Tamar. So Tamar is in the studio. She was talking about that she had released a single. Now, when it comes down to Tamar, I know more about Tamar's drama than I do about her damn music at this point. And we're gonna talk about Tamar and her drama a little later. And they cutting the fool because I'm if I don't put they cutting the fool up today, I know for a fact I'm gonna try to have it up on Sunday morning. But we're gonna talk about Tamar because I like I said, I know more about Tamar's drama as of late than I do about her music, right? So she was in the studio. She was in her feelings because Tracy's birthday is coming up. Now, Tamar, girl, your parents didn't teach you nothing about a good relationship or anything of the sorts, right? Because now maybe Michael Braxton did, right? But definitely not your mama. Because when your mama see your daddy, that woman's face turns upside down, all the way upside down, right? But she called Vince. I was when she called Vince on the phone, I was like, ugh. I don't know. I was looking at like after all the things that y'all have said about Vince and her relationship, but I have to remember Logan is still a minor, so y'all do still have to co-parent. But baby, I don't know if I would be calling Vince up on the phone so readily and so easily. I don't give a damn if it is about music, baby. There would be nothing that I could say that Vince could say to me, or I would have to say to Vince. But it's Tamar's life, and it is what it is, right? So, he asked her how is she feeling, right? She said that right now she's not feeling because again, it's Tracy's birthday is coming up, and it's been 2 years since Tracy has passed, right? So Vince just basically lets Tamar know how proud of her he is because everything that she's doing is been without a label and all that kind of stuff, right? And like I said, again, this is no slight, no shade to Tamar, but I know more about Tamar's personal drama than I do about her music. Like I can't even tell you that I don't even I don't again I don't keep up with let's be real, I don't keep up with Tamar like that either, right? But when it comes to her music, Tamar, I see more antics from Tamar on social media than I do of her music. But hey, she said the song went number one, and congratulations to her for the song going number one. Now, when she was talking about Tracy's song, what was Tracy's "Wake Up Call"? I kind of had a little bit of a side off of Tamar because I was like, Tamar, weren't you one of the people that was talking shit about Tracy's album when it came out? Like, I could have swore you made some comments about your sister on Twitter back in the day when her album came out. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, but I know I'm not wrong. But okay, girl. Okay. You play her out. You play that song. Shout out to you. What else? So after that, oh God, you guys, like I said earlier, after knowing that the will is out there in this public knowledge that Tracy did leave her husband something, and she did want a celebration of life party, it's just making me side eye to Wanda and Trina a little bit. Not that much. It's just making me side eye. I'm just a little bit, right? So they went out to dinner with Tamar and Miss E to catch them up on what happened when they went to DC. Another thing that I will say, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Tawanda did not call little Kevin Scratchy. That's not something I'm gonna sit here and say. But I don't. What I will say is, from Braxton Family Values, I don't remember her always calling him Scratchy as much as she's calling him Scratchy in this show. Because every time she mentions him now, it's Scratchy this, call Scratchy, 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 right? And again, I don't remember 100% her say, she may have said it in Braxton Family Values. I'm not saying that she did or didn't say it, but I just question, now and every time he's brought up, it's Scratchy. And even people have asked, like her kids asked her who is Scratchy, right? Her kids asked her who's Scratchy. Vaughn asked her who was Scratchy. And it's again, like I said, I'm not saying that she's never called the boy Scratchy. I'm not gonna say that. It's just kind of interesting that it's being used so much now. But that's just my little my thinking point. But I'm not saying it again. Again, I'm gonna read it and say it. I'm not saying that she ain't never called the boy Scratchy. It's just kind of interesting that it's being done now. So yeah, I just don't, like I said again, I'm gonna repeat it for the last time. I'm not saying that she never called the boy Scratchy. It's just a little interesting, right? But hey, neither here nor there, right? Tony is in the south of France, so she's not gonna be joining them. So Trace, not rest in peace, Tracy. Um, so Wanda is just basically telling what happened, how little Kevin was happy to see them, how he wants his family to be around them, and how confused he is, right? But then they also brought up the fact of how little Kevin is saying that big Kevin is questioning Tracy's will and if Tracy was in her right mind when she did the will, right? And I'm like, oh God, I don't like this, right? Because here's my thing. I'm a very private person, right? So I know I wouldn't be up. There would be no way you could get me to talk about this on camera. So Miss Evelyn says that Tracy told her. Miss Evelyn says she talked to Tracy and asked Tracy, is she sure that little Kevin would be, strong enough to handle this, right? And I don't think he was, right? I definitely don't think he was because even when my mom passed away, I'm her only child. So I literally became the executor of everything that with my mom, right? I had to take care of everything, the funeral arrangements, the funeral arrangements, even still with her, living arrange, where she was still where we were living at the time. I was having to pay, I was having to deal with her social security stuff. Like there were so many things that I had to then take on because I was her living, her closest living relative, and it was just everything, and I just felt overwhelmed at a point, like even with the funeral, once the funeral was over, I felt a little sense of relief, but not that much relief, right? Because it was still a lot to handle because I still had to handle her final affairs and just I had to get the death certificate. I had to do so many things that I had to do, and I wish that there was someone else that could have been there with me to do some of those things that I had to do, right? But again, I was my mom's only child, so it all fell squarely on me, and so I knew I wasn't. But I was a little. No, I think no. I want. I was a no. I know I'm older than little Kevin, but I'm not that much older than him. But yeah, it just. I don't think he was strong enough. But then Miss Evelyn says that Tracy said because she was like, well, Miss Evelyn says, do you think he's strong enough to fight against his dad? And Miss Evelyn said Tracy said that it would give him some balls, right? I was like, oh, okay. But again, I don't, I just, now I'm so confused because, like I said, I know that the will is out there and I know that Big Kevin did not go against Tracy's wishes. Mm, 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 mm. I, Let me know what you guys think, right? So, again, Tracy's birthday is coming up, so they decided that they wanted to have a birthday party for Tracy, right? So then we get to Trina and her family. I don't really have much to say about Trina's family. Good to see Eric and Caleb. It really was good to see Eric and Caleb. Trina wants grandchildren, but her sons don't want to have kids. I was like, okay, they know that they don't want to be parents. That's nothing wrong with that. And it's nothing wrong with that Trina wants grandkids, but girl, hopefully your husband got kids, and they kids got kids, because those may be the only way you're gonna get some grandchildren. Because I don't know, your sons don't seem like they want them. Now, for Vaughn to sit down and tell them boys basically to have a fucking vasectomy, I was like, oh wow, we're going that extreme. Granted, I get that Eric is married, so Eric don't want to use a condom when he has sex with his wife, right? And Caleb has a girlfriend, but vasectomy, that's where we go. When it comes to Vaughn, something with Vaughn just does not sit right within me, and my it just don't sit right with me. Something about Vaughn just don't sit well with me. It really truly don't. It really really don't. But you guys can tell me what you think and feel in the comments below. Then you guys will get to Tawanda. So Tawanda was in the car, and she told, she said, call Scratchy. And it said, you guys remember in the first episode when she said, call Scratchy, that it said it didn't know who, something like it couldn't find Scratchy or something like that, but it said calling Scratchy, Scratchy, right? Again, I'm not saying that she's never called the boy Scratchy. It's just kind of interesting that it's being said a lot. It's being said a whole hell of a lot. But again, you guys tell me what you think and feel. But Tawanda wants to bring little Kevin to celebrate Tracy's birthday, and it be a surprise, right? And that's that. Trina and Vaughn. Again, like I said, Vaughn, something about Vaughn just don't sit right with me, with my spirit, because it's the way he talks to Trina and everything. I just be like, ooh, girl, no. No ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am. And I was with Trina. He overstepped by telling her sons basically, excuse me, y'all, to have a vasectomy. But y'all do know that vasectomies are reversible, right? I just want people to know that you can reverse a vasectomy. You absolutely can reverse a vasectomy. That's all I will say. Um, Nothing else came from that scene that I got. And then we get to the party. So, like I said earlier in the review, please, you guys, tell me if I missed anything. Because in the previews of what was coming up in this episode, it showed Mama Evelyn sitting down with Marla Gibbs and Maybelline Ephraim. And then it also showed Tamar doing the podcast with Carlos King. But I rewound this episode. I watched the episode through. Then I went back and just fast forwarded through to make sure I didn't miss anything, and I never saw them. But again, let me know if I missed it. Now, I was kind of confused at this party for Tracy why there was a harp player there. Like, harp music is very, somber and sad, and I wouldn't be here for that. But yeah, they had a harp player there, and I was on Tamar's side when it came to the harp player. So Tawanda surprised everybody with little Kevin, and so we after that we see as the friend Denise, Tawanda, Trina, Tamar, and Miss E are sitting down, right? So Tawanda, Tamar asked Denise, like, why were what made you want to be there 24/7 with Tracy? And she said it was the fact that Tracy said that she did not want to be alone. Now, what I will say is when it came down to this scene with Tamar, I actually did feel bad for Tamar. I can't even lie to you guys. I may not see it for Tamar these days, but I did feel sorry for Tamar because Tamar was the last one to know about Tracy's cancer diagnosis. And she said she really didn't find out until the hospice people came out. I was like, damn. And if you guys don't know anything about cancer, hospice don't come out until there's nothing else that can be done. Like, hospice comes out when you're near your final days. That's how it typically works. Because that I know that's how it worked with my grandmother who had cancer. That's how it worked with my uncle and my grandfather, right? Especially with my grandmother, because that was the first time that we ever dealt with cancer. And her oncologist just told us, like, it's probably time for you guys to call hospice So that, and really and truly what it was is they were just gonna make her, her as comfortable as they could in her last days. And with my grandmother, we had her at home. My uncle, we had him in a hospital, so he passed away in the hospital. My grandfather was in a nursing home, so he passed away in a nursing home. But my grandmother, she wanted to be at home in her last days, right? And they gave us, they gave us the rundown of how everything would go. Not her passing away, but they just told us, it's it's gonna happen sooner than rather than later, right? And with us, what we would do was, because they had her in a database for 911, so that when we called in 911, it would be a non-emergency call. So they would come out with no sirens on. They would just come to the house, pick her up, take her to the hospital, and that would be that. And that's exactly, literally exactly what happened. It was New Year's Eve. Never forget it. We got to her. Me and my mom got to the house. They were there with the ambulance and took her to the hospital. And then the next day, she made it. She actually made it through the night. Almost made it through the whole day of January 1st. She passed away just before 8 p.m. Interesting. Just thought about that. But yeah, so I say all that to say, with Tamar finding out, yeah, that was, she didn't have much time with, to work on things with Tracy, but she did. But we did, she did talk about her final moments with Tracy, right? She got to, be an adult with Tracy, and she just wanted to know why she didn't know. And Miss Evelyn said that she was basically respecting Tracy's wishes, which I understand that, right? And she also was, they were also saying, well, this is coming from Trina, that you know uh Tracy and Tamar, they had some issues at the time, and Tracy, Tamar was like, what issues? So I guess there was something that happened to them back when they were in DC and did a performance together. They didn't really elaborate on it, and they don't have to. But I mean, if you watch Braxton Family Values, you know the history with those two. You know that there's always been issues with them. That episode where Tracy crossed her legs and leaned into Tamar, I will never forget that episode. Or was it season one or was it season two when she said, "You know what, Tamar, fuck you." Oh, I think it was season one. But I know that I will never forget that episode where they were sitting on that couch, and I don't forget if they were with Dr. Sherry or who they were with, but they were in a therapy session. I don't know who the hell they were. It might have been Dr. Sherry, but I know for a fact that Tracy crossed her legs and looked and leaned over to Tamar and was in Tamar's face. Oh, I miss Tracy so much. Miss her. Rest in peace, Angel. But yeah, that was it for the episode. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, and till the next time, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.